Class is dismissed, boys and girls.
You're in. Let's go!
Previously on the YTV Retrospective.
Where am I going to find another replacement?
Did someone say replacement?
Yeah!
Check this out. Everybody. Check it out.
YTV always had a challenge when it came to the teenage demographic. They knocked down the shows for the preschoolers, slightly older kids, and the adults who were nostalgic of shows from their youth. The 90s and the early 2000s was where the phrase tweens was introduced. Their younger brother Teletoon had adult animation since day one, with shows like The Simpsons and Duckman. And a few years later, would create a block that would last them a good while, called Teletoon Unleashed, then renamed to The Detour, and finally Teletoon at Night. YTV needed to find a teen block all their own, as they did air a couple of teen shows from time to time, like Mobile Suit Gundam Wing and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And in 2000, they would have their first try with Limbo. Limbo was an hour-and-a-half block airing on Mondays to Fridays from 9 to 10:30 p.m., with branding that definitely had a lot of attitude going for it.
I've just finished watching the shows in Limbo, and I've been told to warn you that the subject matter and the shows that you're about to see may not be suitable for younger viewers. So be aware and get a room.
A more grunge-looking atmosphere to it, kind of in the same vein as Adult Swim's early years.
All kids out of the pool for Adult Swim. All kids out!
Now, which programs were a part of this block? There were plenty of surprises, including teen dramas and comedies, like Lucy Sullivan is Getting Married, and Live Through This. But we will be looking primarily on their animated outings, starting with Daria is about the teenage pessimistic adventures of Daria Morgendorffer, a girl who basically just hates the world and almost everyone living on it. She lives with her family as her mother, Helen, is a workaholic attorney, their loving father, Jake, and the shallow yet vain younger sister, Quinn, who is also the most popular kid in their school. Her best friend is Jane, a girl who is just as cynical as Daria is. They take on the challenges of high school in their own unique way. Originally airing on MTV, Daria was a spin-off of their big breakout hit in animation, Beavis and Butthead. Despite the show not being created by its series creator Mike Judge, as he was busy working on King of the Hill at the time. For some reason the two shows didn't cross over at all. The show was created to bring in more of a high female audience to MTV and different writing style to that of Beavis and Butthead. And it worked! Daria lasted from 1997 to 2002, with 5 seasons and 65 episodes, plus 2 TV and movies, with 2000's Is It Fall Yet? And the series finale, Is It College Yet? The interesting thing was that it aired on YTV slightly earlier at around 7:30 p.m., so they had promos using the Keep It Weird era branding.
Daria Morgendorffer and Brittany Taylor star in The Day They Switched Brains.
Didn't you see the Rocky Horror Picture Show here last month? Kevin and I wore each other's underwear.
Our government always finds a loophole.
Oh, the horror! Who's behind this sinister switcheroo?
It's that guy Knuckles!
Stay tuned for the gripping conclusion. Daria, tonight at 7:30. Keep it weird on YTV.
If you are looking for a different perspective on a series for teenagers, then this is the show for you. If you thought being a teenager was stressful, you haven't met Eric. Stressed Eric is about 40-year-old divorcee Eric Feeble, voiced by Mark Heap, who struggles with his life involving raising his 2 children, the very allergic daughter Claire, and slow-witted pica-diagnosed son Brian, while also dealing with the always drug immigrant nanny Maria. Eric deals with a lot in his life.
If you
Don't say it.
If you'd like to take a seat, the nurse will see you as soon as she can. Priority case. Priority case.
Enough to irritate and annoy him to the point that he nearly dies in every episode. Looking at the animation style, I knew it looked familiar, and I was proven right. It was animated by the animation team behind Rugrats, as told by Ginger, The Wild Thornberrys, and for a reference of the series' humor, it is very reminiscent to Duckman. Only instead of the protagonist's focus being everyone's an idiot but me, here the world is pretty much out to get him. Or rather, following Murphy's Law, which states that if anything can go wrong, it will. Stressed Eric ran for 2 series with 13 episodes. It originally aired on BBC Two with both seasons. When the series aired in the US on NBC, each episode was edited for the runtime, and Eric was redubbed with Hank Azaria.
No, you don't understand. I've been stabbed. I'm a priority case now. No. You don't understand. I've been stabbed. I'm a priority case now.
Wait. A guy who's down on his luck, annoyed by everyone and everything around him, and voiced by Hank Azaria? Why does that sound familiar?
As little as possible, and you leech off decent, hard-working people, like me. If you lived in any other country in the world, you'd have starved to death long ago.
If you think stress is crazy, Stressed Eric takes that stress up to 11. You know what's a good stress reliever? Making movies. Home Movies is about a young filmmaker by the name of Brendan Small, played by Brendan Small, who also did Metalocalypse, who lives with his divorced mom Paula and adopted sister Josie. He hangs out with his friends Melissa and Jason, who help him out with his movies, while also putting up with his soccer coach, Coach John McGurk, played by Archer himself, H. John Benjamin.
I watched some professional soccer on television Sunday afternoon. I'll tell you there's a major gap between what I saw on television and where we are right now. First of all, you're all 8.
Lana.
What?
Danger zone.
The series' first season was originally animated using a method called Squiggle Vision, a method of computer animation created by Tom Snyder, in which the outlines of shapes are made to wiggle and undulate, emulating the effect of sketchily hand-drawn animation, which results in lots of reused animation. The first show that started using this method was the Comedy Central series Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. Another show was Science Court, a series that aired on Disney's One Saturday Morning. The remainder of the series was animated in a fairly new software by the name of Adobe Flash, which became a standard of animation for years. The series originally aired on UPN, but was cancelled after 5 episodes due to low ratings. However, Cartoon Network picked up the series in 2001 and aired it on their new adult animation block, Adult Swim, and continued until 2004. With 4 seasons and 52 episodes. The series is available on DVD and streaming, courtesy of Shout Factory. The show became a cult hit, and for good reason. While the animation looks a bit strange, its humor definitely makes up for it.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
What was all that about, Scoof?
Just random.
Set in New York City, Downtown focuses on a group of friends as they deal with their everyday lives in the bustling city of New York. Our main cast includes the nerdy Alex, and his sister Chaka, Fruity, Scott, aka Goat. Wait, why does he seem familiar?
Oh yeah, stratospheric strawberry slime. It's the nectar of the gods.
Where was I?
Jen, Matt, Mecca, Serena, and Lee. I like the animation style of this one. It provides a lot of gritty style, but also goes over the top trippy, representing the situations that they're in. Like an overblown argument between Alex and Jen.
Oh, now I'm seeing the real Jen, the sneaky, conniving bitch.
I was enjoying myself until you turned into the Rudy Giuliani of board games.
God, you're difficult. No wonder you don't have a boyfriend.
Yeah? What about you? What girl in their right mind would go out with a tight-ass control freak?
Oh, take that back or I'm leaving.
A guy who needs to check a rule book before he takes a piss.
I checked the book once.
A guy who takes a Polaroid of the Monopoly board when he leaves the room just to keep things honest.
Oh, so now you're against honesty.
Or just Fruity trying pickup lines.
That skirt looks good on you, but it would look better balled up in the corner of my room.
Then again, the trippy animation is familiar because it's done by the same people who did the trip out scene in Beavis and Butthead Do America. The series aired on MTV from August to November of 1999, with a grand total of 13 episodes. It was nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Animation for the episode Before and After. Sadly, MTV canceled Downtown afterwards. Despite getting critical praise and a cult following, it was basically an afterthought in MTV's eyes. I'm noticing a trend with a few of these shows. But I think this series is great, and highly recommended. Check it out and see what's going on downtown. Our last show we're looking at was a bit of a hard one to find, so let's get looking for Treasure. Treasure, based on the newspaper strip by Michelle Hansen, the series is about 14-year-old girl Treasure, a rebellious girl who lives with her mother and grandmother, and also rebels against her family. A lot of the series is focused on how the family puts up with her shenanigans, a lot of which being a generational gap. For example, Treasure ends up getting a job at the grocery store, while the mom saw herself at that age as a sophisticated woman, which her grandmother knew that she was full of it, and realizes that her attitude was the exact same as Treasure's. The interesting thing about comics in the UK is that the more popular series there weren't even superheroes from companies like Marvel or DC. They were mainly rowdy, juvenile kids and teens, or parodies of superheroes. Gag comics were the name of the game. Good examples include Banana Man and Dennis the Menace, which, funny enough, premiered almost the exact same time as the American Dennis the Menace. Perfect stars aligned scenario. The series was animated by Canadian company Cinar, which was definitely something outside of their comfort zone. For reference, this was the studio behind Caillou, Mona the Vampire, The Busy World of Richard Scarry, and Arthur. Airing on BBC Two in the UK, ABC Kids in Australia, and YTV in Canada, the series lasted for one season of 13 episodes, sadly with no home video release, and many episodes of the series are considered lost media. Few episodes were found here and there on YouTube though. It may be tough to find, but I think there's a bit of treasure in this series. And those were all the animated shows that aired on Limbo. By 2001, the place that was nowhere in particular had closed down, and the spot would be vacant for a few years. And for a first attempt, it wasn't that bad. According to a former programming director of YTV, Limbo had a few problems going against it. First was that the content had to follow CRTC guidelines, so it was mandatory to show content that was Canadian made. And second was that many of the highest rated teen shows at the time, like Dawson's Creek or One Tree Hill, were already licensed to other stations, or that YTV could not afford them. So they had to work with what they had, getting shows like Daria and home movies, which was a huge uphill battle. However, you know where this story continues. In 2003, YTV began to air Inuyasha, and the series saw a large success, to the point where it was the 4th highest search topic on Google in Canada the next year. Inuyasha proved that there was an audience, and thus, their next block was created, with Bionics. That lasted to 2010. Limbo walked so that Bionics could stride. But it was a decent experiment nonetheless that took place in between here, there, and somewhere. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the misadventures of one particular boy. I said we're going to take a look at the misadventures of one particular boy! And I hate repeating myself.
Next time on the YTV Retrospective.